Good morning, everyone. We are happy that you're here today. Today is Thursday, April the 18th, and we're going to be talking about the banks, how to change your bank company account, as well as employee direct deposits, how to change those and make sure that they're accurate and your people get paid into the correct account on time. So, Charles, take it away.
Thank you very much, Saundra. So yes, we do get those requests, and the part about changing it with the bank is easy, right? Is that for you itself is easy, where you just go into the bank, you tell them, hey, I'm changing bank accounts. Maybe as there's a problem with the existing bank, you're going to a new one. Maybe somebody has taken your bank information and you need to get a new account, all that kind of stuff. Lots of things can happen. Or maybe there's a new bank that has some sort of like special deal, interest rate, or they give you $200 when you're applying. In any case, what you do with that is once you have changed the bank, you need to let us know as soon as possible. It's best not to wait until you're actually processing the payroll to do the bank change, because that takes us time to complete. And what we do need from you is a bank form such as this. This is the bank form that we use, the banking information update form, where you enter your company name, what date it's supposed to be effective, and are you replacing or adding an account? Some of our clients do have multiple accounts because they have taxes being withheld from one account and then the net pay being paid through another one. You do not need to worry about the NPC account number. That's something we take care of. So you just go in and you enter the information in this form that we send to you, right? So you put in the current routing and account number, the new ones, and then you can list what type of account it is. That's important. And then what it's going to be using. So if you have multiple accounts, then you do want to make distinctions. But if you only have the one account, you can just go ahead and mark all of these. And then you would have somebody who is authorized to sign for your company sign and date it. Now, when you send it back to us, you need to send it back with a voided check from the bank, from this account. If you don't have a voided check, then a direct deposit authorization form that you can get from your bank will have the same information that we need, that routing and that account number. There's an additional information that you would find on a canceled check, the fractional number, how the bank is supposed to appear on the check, those kind of things. But if we don't have those are not deal breakers. What we do need is that routing and account number. And then once we get that back, it would take a couple of days actually to go through and make sure that we have this in here, because once we make the change to the account, then we have to do a verification with our bank partners to make sure that everything is going to go fine through the automated transit system. Now, similar thing when we have direct deposits for an employees is we have a form that you have them complete. And the importance of this is this section right here. This is where the employee agrees that we can debit their account if there's any errors, or the usual crediting. Employees are never upset about the crediting, but they may be upset when we have to correct a mistake. This is where we get the authorization. So they should put their names and their employee signature. It's a good idea to put their social on here as well, because you may have two people that have the same name. We don't want to change the direct deposit on the wrong person. You'll, of course, also have your client number and your company name. And the client number is the client ID that we have with you. And then the employees can complete which bank it is, if it's a replacement, a new account, and they can mark it so that it's entire net pay or just a portion, and then they would put in the information here. And then for these, we also request a voided check. We even have here attached voided check. And the reason that we require these is because the bank document is going to have the correct routing and account number. As too often we've had situations where a direct deposit is returned, or there's an issue with a bank change because the information we were provided was incorrect. So we don't do that without the bank documentation. It has to be from the bank. Now, I have had instances where that is something like this. They send us this direct deposit form and they fill out the information. This, unfortunately, is not sufficient. It has to be pre-printed, and all the banks do have those. I have a credit union. I used to have Wells Fargo. You can go online and get those to provide them. Wells Fargo will even put on their account statements. They will put the routing and the account numbers on those. I've seen them. But you can request from all of the banks and the credit unions a direct deposit request form or authorization form, whatever they call it. You would be able to select which account it's supposed to be, and then out will pop a PDF with all the information pre-printed on it, because the bank knows what's the routing number and the bank knows what's the account number for that direct deposit. We have had instances where people have actually just taken one of those deposit slips from the bank and go in the bank, get a deposit slip, and they use those numbers. Those aren't the right numbers. And filling it in right here, it increases the chances that we will have an error, that we won't have the right number. So ideally, you want either a voided check from that account. If they give you sample checks without your name printed on them or something like that, we really do want your name printed on these things. But if it's a voided check from the account, or if you don't have those, or if it's a savings account, then that direct deposit authorization form, which you can obtain online. You go to your bank's website, log in, and it's going to be one of the options in one of their menus. You just make sure it's pre-printed and not one of these forms that you fill out. Okay. Any questions on any of that?
Jasmine, any questions? Any questions? Okay. Well, one of the things that, Charles, if you'll go back to the direct deposit form for the employee, we've been talking about this with your company, actually, about pay cards. And pay cards, please go back up to the top of the form, Charles. Pay cards are an option for those who do not have bank accounts, or they prefer not to have their check. They want a paper check. And this is a way to save your company money, because if we have to send you a paper check, we charge you delivery fees, whether it's mail or courier or FedEx, whatever it is, it's an extra amount of money. And sometimes it's only one or two checks. And that's a lot, especially if you're a frequent payroll processor, like weekly or even biweekly. The alternative is a pay card, and it works just like a debit card. So we direct deposit or load that debit card, which is why we need the employee direct deposit enrollment form. It does not cost you anything except for the setup fee. It's a one-time setup fee of $100. You get a stack of pay cards that you can activate and give to your employees. We provide them to you. And then for the first one, we'll do that for you and show you how it's done. And then these direct deposit forms come back to us, because it's officially like a direct deposit to a bank. And then we are able to load those cards going forward. The debit card can be used by the employee at any merchant. They can go to a universal ATM, and they are able to withdraw money. They can withdraw all of their money except for $1 to keep the account active. So lots of people like to use just cash. They don't like to use a debit card. So that will work for them. And there's universal ATMs all over the place. So that's one way that they can get their cash. And they can use it to, purchase things at the merchants. And it saves them those high check cashing fees at the check cashing companies or the local store. They usually charge you to cash their check. So it's a good alternative for those folks who are pretty certain that they do not want to have a bank account. So that's one way to solve that problem. And I see that Charla has just joined us. So if Charla has any questions, or we didn't have a slide deck today, Charla. We just showed a couple of forms, the one for the employee and the one for the employer, and the one that we cannot accept. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We hope you found the information useful, and we are very, very pleased and thankful that you are part of our PayrollCentric family. Goodbye for now.